Sometimes one play, one hit can end their entire career.
My hip dislocated, broke my pelvic socket. It wasn't in the cards for me to make it to the Hall of Fame.
The rigors of a football season are apparent after just week 1. Let's examine 10 players whose careers were destroyed by just one play. Bo Jackson, running back. Bo Jackson was one of the greatest athletes of all time, and he could have been the best running back to ever step onto a football field. He was just that good. Unfortunately, that was all undone with one play. So let's start at the beginning. You see, Jackson was drafted by the Buccaneers with the first overall pick in the 1986 draft, but due to his refusal to play for the Bucs, he re-entered the draft in 1987 and was taken by the Los Angeles Raiders. Due to the commitments by Jackson, he also played professional baseball. The running back never suited up for more than 11 games during any of his 4 NFL seasons. But man, when he did actually play, the man was electric. However, in January of 1991, during a playoff game against the Bengals, Jackson suffered a dislocated hip while being tackled. Upon further examination, doctors discovered that there was a fracture in one hip bone, the loss of cartilage in the ball and socket joint, and a vascular necrosis. He would never step onto a football field again, and his football career was over. While Jackson went on to play pro baseball for a few more years, he did need an eventual hip replacement. Man, what could have been? Joe Theismann, quarterback. He was a 2-time Pro Bowl selection, an All-Pro in 1983 when he won the AP MVP award and was voted the AP Offensive Player of the Year and led Washington to a Super Bowl title that season. By 1985, Joe Theismann was one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league. Then, that Monday night in the nation's capital. As Taylor pulled Theismann to the ground, his knee drove straight into the QB's leg, and that hit fractured Theismann's right tibia and fibula. His bones were broken between his knee and ankle, with bones protruding out of the skin. It was a gruesome injury, and it ended Theismann's career. Dennis Byrd, defensive tackle. A second-round draft pick by the Jets in 1989, Dennis Byrd was an imposing physical presence on the defensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, his career was cut short due to a devastating injury sustained on the field of play. Drafted out of Tulsa, in his first 3 seasons, Byrd started 40 games and had 4 forced fumbles, 27 sacks, and a safety. The odds that the Jets found an anchor on their defensive line looked pretty dang good, but unfortunately, like many other pro athletes, that all changed with one play. Playing against the Chiefs in 1992, Byrd was chasing the opposing quarterback when, with his head down, he collided with teammate Scott Mercereau. As a result of the hit, Byrd broke his 5th cervical vertebrae and was unable to walk. As a result of surgery and physical therapy, Byrd was finally able to walk again, but due to that missed tackle, his career was over. The Jets retired Byrd's jersey, but sadly, he was killed during a traffic accident in 2016. Leon Lett, defensive lineman. Sometimes it's not an injury that destroys a career. Sometimes a career can be destroyed for doing something incredibly stupid on the field. Enter Leon Lett. Drafted by the Cowboys in 1991, Lett would go on to play 11 years in the NFL, including 8 more seasons after his infamous moment. Lett finished his career with 2 Pro Bowl selections and was a 3-time Super Bowl champion with Dallas. Despite his accomplishments, Lett is best remembered for 2 specific plays. First, during Super Bowl 27, Lett recovered a fumble and ran 60 yards to the end zone. Unfortunately, the defensive lineman decided to celebrate a bit early and had the ball stripped from his hands by a defender. The play resulted in a touchback instead of a touchdown. And if that wasn't bad enough, during a Thanksgiving game against Miami, Lett blocked a last-minute game-winning field goal by Miami. As the ball bounced down the field, in an attempt to recover it, Lett slipped and hit the ball forward. The Dolphins recovered and finally kicked a game-winning field goal. Who knows, maybe staying in the league as a starter after one's most infamous play may not make Leon Lett the perfect candidate for this list, but hey, considering that he's remembered more for, well, kind of being boneheaded on the field rather than any of his actual success, well, that makes me think that he kind of fits. Icky Woods, running back. For a brief period of time in the late 1980s, Icky Woods was a cultural icon. I mean, come on, who doesn't remember the Icky Shuffle? Anyways, in 1988, Woods took the NFL world by storm when he led the Bengals with 1,066 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns, helping Cincinnati reach the Super Bowl. During Week 2 of the 1989 season, the star running back tore his left ACL and missed 13 months. He would return for limited action for the 1990 season, but injured his right knee during the 1991 preseason. And, well, by the end of the 1991 season, it was pretty dang clear that Woods was a shell of his his former self. At the age of 26, Icky Woods announced his retirement. It's kind of unfortunate that Woods' career was cut short due to injuries. Terrell Davis, running back. What makes Terrell Davis different from every other entry on our list? Well, he's the only Hall of Fame inductee on our list, despite only playing in the NFL for 7 years. The first 4 years of his career were a lights-out, greatest running back in the game highlight reel. The last 3 years, well, they're kind of the exact opposite. Yet the fact that Davis made it into the Hall of Fame on the strength of his first 4 seasons says everything that you need to know about him. In that short span, Davis had single-season rushing totals of 1,117, 1,538, 1,750, and 2,008 rushing yards in each of his first 4 years. He also led the league in 1998 with 21 rushing touchdowns. In total, over those 4 years, Davis would accumulate 6,413 rushing yards, 56 touchdowns, 3 Pro Bowl berths, a 3-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ, the 1998 AP MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, and was a 2-time AP Offensive Player of the Year. Yeah, that is a heck of a run in 4 short years. When the 1999 season rolled around, Davis began to break down. During week 4 of the 1999 season, he tore his ACL and MCL and would miss the rest of that year. He then missed 11 games in 2000 with a stress reaction injury and missed half of 2001 due to surgeries on both knees. Over Davis's last 3 seasons, he totaled 1,194 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. LeCharles Bentley, offensive lineman. Bentley was drafted by the Saints in the 2nd round of the 2002 NFL Draft. From 2002 through 2005, Bentley started 57 games for the Saints, earning 2 Pro Bowl selections and finishing 3rd in the 2002 AP Rookie of the Year voting. After the 2005 season, Bentley decided that he would rather sit out a season than continue to play for New Orleans. The next year, the free agent offensive lineman signed with his hometown Cleveland Browns. That homecoming would not end well. During the first day of training camp in 2006, Bentley ruptured his patella tendon. He would endure 4 operations, a staph infection, and an almost amputation before being cleared to return to football the next year. He officially retired from pro football in 2009, ending another case of what could have been. Mark Sanchez, quarterback. When the Jets drafted Mark Sanchez with the 5th pick in the 2009 draft, they thought they were getting a true franchise quarterback. Although he struggled that first year, in year 2, he led the Jets to an 11-5 record and surpassed 3,000 yards passing for the first time in his career. When the 2012 season rolled around, the Jets were ready for Sanchez to take that next step. Unfortunately, that next step was onto the backside of his own offensive lineman during a National Thanksgiving Day game against the Patriots. As a result of the collision, Sanchez fumbled the ball. The Pats recovered and scored a touchdown. The play, which has since become known as the butt fumble, essentially ended his career. Sure, he continued as a journeyman quarterback for the next several years, but at that point, Mark Sanchez had just become a joke. Ameche, fullback. In addition to winning the 1954 Theismann Trophy from 1955 through 1959, Ameche was a Pro Bowl fullback for the Baltimore Colts. And then came that fateful December day in 1960. During a late December game, the fullback suffered a devastating Achilles tendon tear. While players often return from Achilles injuries today, well, that simply wasn't the case, and the man was forced to retire at the far too young age of 27 years old. Fortunately, he was able to transition to another successful business venture, becoming one of the co-founders of Geno's Hamburgers. Plaxico Burress, wide receiver. I know that the final entry on our list doesn't quite fit the narrative of the other entries, but hey, considering the topic, we couldn't pass up on adding this player to it. Sure, his career actually ended after suffering a severe rotator cuff tear, but technically, his career ended in a New York City nightclub in 2008. Plaxico Burress was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 8th pick of the 1st round. He had a less than modest rookie season, but by his 2nd and 3rd season, he was eclipsing 1,000 yards receiving per season. After 6 years with the Steelers, Burress signed a 6-year deal with the New York Giants. Over his first 3 years with the Giants, Burress surpassed 1,000 receiving yards over 2 years. He fell just 12 yards short the other year. His touchdowns increased each year, and he helped the Giants beat the undefeated Patriots in Super Bowl 42. By the end of the 2007 season, things were generally looking pretty dang good for Burress in New York. Then, on November 28, 2008, Burress's career was destroyed by one stupid play of his own making. While hanging out at a New York City nightclub, the gun that Burress was carrying in his pants began to slide slide down his leg. As the wide receiver grabbed for the gun, he accidentally pulled the trigger and shot himself in the leg. Because Burress was violating the law by carrying said gun, he wound up serving 20 months in prison. He attempted to return to the NFL in 2011 and 2012, but he just was never the same player on the field. But what other NFL careers were destroyed with just one play? Who would you have included on this list? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.